Live. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about NFL Week 13. It's kind of a new format. I'm not going to do this every week. Actually, for Week 14 I plan on doing a normal video, but I didn't have time to get the Week 13 video out. So let's just kind of go through some of the games. I know these happened 2 weeks ago, literally on Thanksgiving, but we are going to start with the Thanksgiving games. We're going to start with the Bears and the Lions. And yeah, I know my Packers played on Thanksgiving. I'm not going to talk about that game. But the Lions extend their win streak to 10 games. They hold off the Bears for a 3-point victory. The Detroit Lions have been dominant for much of the season and leading the league in point differential after routinely rooting opponents, but this was a close one. And yeah, I had the videos on my laptop originally, and I was working on editing videos, but now I kind of have to re-record it, which kind of sucks. But we're just going to kind of look at the box score real quick. I mean, Caleb Williams, 20 for 39, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. Actually, a really good performance for him. Jared Goff threw 21 for 34, 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, so not a bad performance from either of the quarterbacks. And obviously, DJ Moore had 8 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown, while Amon-Ra St. Brown had 5 catches for 72, I think it was. As we are going to move on to the, hopefully you guys can see that well. Let me check real quick on the stream. You guys should be able to see that. We have the Giants and the Cowboys up next. Again, we're going to skip that Packers game, but we're going to talk about Giants-Cowboys. Overshown's flashy pick 6 boosts the Cowboys in a 7-point Thanksgiving win over the Giants. DeMarvion Overshown wasn't sure he could run down the pass he tipped, and he turned it into an interception for a touchdown. Sorry, my computer sounds like this. Finally, the Cowboys make a play. I think that's awesome to see that, and they get it done. Again, kind of a lame game. I mean, Drew Lock 21 for 32, but he did throw an interception. Cooper Rush threw 21 for 36. He threw for a touchdown. Rico Dowdle ran 22 carries for 112 yards and a touchdown, and Drew Lock was getting it done on the ground as well. 4 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. You have to kind of give him credit for, trying to do everything. But looking at things, Kevontae Turpin's been a huge player for the Cowboys recently. He had 4 catches for 53, and he's been making moves. I don't remember if this was the week he had, the return touchdowns with the insane spin moves or not. I don't really remember that, but there was that game. Next, we're going to talk about the dark magic that happened. Oh, wow, would you look at that? It's Black Friday. Of course it's Black Friday. We have the Raiders and the Chiefs game. Again, skipping that Packers game. The Chiefs recover a botch snap by the Raiders in the closing seconds. They clinch a playoff berth. They win by 2. The Kansas City Chiefs have made a habit of winning games in the most improbable of ways, and again, I just don't think that's how that is. I don't think that's how that's been working. I don't think it's a habit of theirs. I think genuinely the NFL is doing fucking something. That's my belief, and I feel like that's a normal take from a sports fan. And I know Aiden O'Connell is taking kind of blame for doing all that, but the guy threw 23 for 35, 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he had a stellar performance. Obviously not a bad performance from Patrick Mahomes either. 26 for 46, 306 yards and a touchdown. Isaac Pacheco went 7 carries for 44 yards, while McCormick went 12 carries for 64. Brock Bowers proving he is probably a top 3 to top 2 rookie in the NFL with a 10-catch, 140-yard, and a touchdown performance. And my boy D-Hop went out for 4 catches for 90 yards. Man, Brock Bowers deserves a lot of consideration for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix are up there in the runnings. But man, oh man, you better watch out, because holy shit, Brock Bowers, that man can fucking cook. I know this video is not going to be that long. I kind of want to just get through this because I'm getting ready to record the other video I had in mind, which is the other NFL recap. But let's just move on here to the Sunday action. Just kind of looking around here. We're going to flip through. You can see the Colts and Patriots there. Anthony Richardson throws for a touchdown and runs for 2 with 12 seconds left as the Colts beat the Patriots by a point. Anthony Richardson is getting used to having the ball in his hands in close games, and he's learning how to win in those situations. Obviously, earlier on in the year, kind of having those struggles with battling for he wasn't battling for the starting QB spot. They just didn't feel like he was ready for it, using Joe Flacco, doing stuff like that. But now he is really figuring it out, and it's been a really cool development to see over the last couple of weeks. But yeah, man, I mean, 12 for 24. He threw for 2 touchdowns, obviously had 2 picks. It wasn't the prettiest game in the world for him. I mean, Drake May, 24 for 30. He threw for a touchdown. He also threw for a pick. I don't really know. Michael Pittman Jr., this game wasn't great. I mean, Hunter Henry had 7 catches for 75 yards, but that's really the only highlights. Again, we're just kind of skimming through games. This is a really quick recap video. I watched quite a bit of football this week because it was obviously Thanksgiving break and I was home with my family watching games and sports and stuff. But let's get into the Steelers and the Bengals. You know, Russell Wilson throws for a season-high 414 yards. Russell Wilson has an insane game. Let's go look at that game real quick. Steelers, Bengals right there for you. And 414 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Steelers beat the Bengals by 6. Another tough loss for the Bengals. Obviously, we're going to see later that the Bengals actually got it done this week, but a very tough loss. Russell Wilson has been at the center of a quarterback controversy since he arrived in Pittsburgh, competing with Justin Fields for the starter job. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for Justin Fields and what he was able to do with the Steelers in his time there, you know, starting the season off right, setting the tone for them. But it's very clear who their guy is. You know, J.J. Watt's tackle when Joe Burrow was clean. That was funny. You know, J.J. Watt kind of joked with Pat McAfee on that. I don't know, like, the question is, like, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase look like a fucking Bugatti in a trailer park right now with this Bengals team. Like, are we sure they belong there? Do they need to request a trade? There's a lot of questions that are starting to kind of arise from this. Again, Joe Burrow, like, 28 for 38, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns. He threw a pick. But, I mean, Russell Wilson did too. And obviously Russell Wilson played fantastic, 29 for 38, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns. One of the best games we have seen from Russell Wilson in years, man. And then also Jamar Chase, 6 catches, 86 yards and a touchdown, and that's an average game for him. He's going to come out there and do that at least every other game. Chase Brown had 12 carries, 70 yards and a touchdown. Like, they have an offensive juggernaut. They have guys on the offense that can go out there and get shit done for them. And it's just being wasted. I don't know if it's their defense. You know, obviously it doesn't help to, you know, like Najee Harris got in the end zone and, you know, George Pickens had 3 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. I don't really know. I mean, it's obviously a lot. It's obviously a lot that the Bengals have to figure out, but it is what it is. Let's just get a moving on. We're going to talk about the Chargers and the Falcons. I think that's right up here. Chargers-Falcons. Still makes 2 picks, returns 1 for a touchdown. The Chargers hand the Falcons their 3rd straight loss. Up to this point, they win by 4. Yeah, the Falcons were looking really fucking good. You know, they were 6-3 in the first half of the season, and now they're just kind of crumbling apart. In a game neither team seemed eager to win, the Los Angeles Chargers relied on their defense, especially rookie cornerback Tarheeb Still, which is a guy I'm not super familiar with, but I really respect it, and I really like that he went out there and balled out. You know, he handed Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons their 3rd straight loss. I'm pretty sure this was the game that Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions. I mean, yeah, he threw 24 for 39, 245 yards. He was doing a decent job of getting the ball down the field, but the second he would get the ball anywhere near down the field, he's throwing a fucking interception, unfortunately. You know, some positives for the Falcons before we get into the Chargers. I mean, 102 yards rushing and a touchdown for Bijan Robinson. Ray McLeod III, we even saw it this week, you know, just being a breakout player and being really huge for their offense. He had 4 catches for 95 yards. But just kind of looking at things, Justin Herbert, 16 for 23. Kept it simple. Really wasn't much going on in this game. Gus Edwards had 6 carries for 32 yards, while Ladd McConkey continuing an insane rookie campaign. He had 9 catches for 117 yards. We are next going to talk about the Seahawks and Jets game. Damn near every game this week was fucking crazy. But, yeah, man. Leonard Williams, 92-yard interception return, and Zach Charbonnet's late touchdown run helped the Seahawks top the Jets. They win by 5. Again, a lot of controversy going around about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this is a 3-9 team. I can't remember if they won this week or not, but holy shit. I mean, Aaron, like, what do you even say at this point about Aaron Rodgers? It's just such a weird fucking situation. Anyway, Leonard Williams was chugging along down the sideline with the end zone, slowly getting closer, and my goodness, his first career touchdown. And what a fucking way to get your first career touchdown. That was absolutely incredible. Good showing by the run game and the defense there. You know, Geno Smith, solid game, 20 for 31, 206 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers threw 21 for 39, had 2 touchdowns, but he threw that pick 6, which pretty much directly cost them the game. Breece Hall had 12 carries for 60 yards. You get Jackson Smith-Njigba continuing to have a solid season, 4 catches for 74 yards. And Devontae Adams had 5 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Oh, man, it's not like they're... I don't even know what to say about the Jets. Like, Should they be 3-9? Obviously not. Again, I don't remember if they won or lost the following week. Well, I'll probably get to that when I actually record that video, but I don't know, man. Let's move on, though. We're going to talk about the Texans-Jaguars. Jaguars made it interesting. What can I say? Texans find momentum heading into a bye week with a 3-point win at the Jaguars after knocking out quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Yes, this is the big thing. Shire, I can't remember how to say his name exactly. That hit on Trevor Lawrence. Oh, fucking boy. The Houston Texans found some much-needed momentum. Call it Joe-mentum before their bye week. There's some things to say about DeMeco Ryans recently, some of his coaching tactics and stuff. They've been struggling. They started off the season really well and lost a couple of key games, but, obviously, Shire's hit warranted him a suspension, and I think he did, in a sense, kind of deserve that. Like, there's really it's a contact sport, I understand, but there's really no place in this sport ever for stuff like that to happen, but yeah, CJ Stroud, he played pretty good, 22 for 34, 242 yards and a touchdown. Mac Jones came in for Trevor Lawrence and actually played really good, made it close, 20 for 32, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can't really be mad about him there. And Joe Mixon continuing to be an MVP for this Texans offense, 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. And Nico Collins is kind of pushing the momentum, keeping it up, returning from injury. He had 8 catches for 119 yards. And some random guy from the Jaguars, Parker Washington, I'm not really sure who that is. I guess he went to Penn State, so that's got to mean something. But he had 6 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Again, some kind of key players, some kind of guys down the line on the bench and stuff, kind of keeping them in the game and all that. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Let's move on, though, to the Cardinals and Vikings. Let's talk about it. This was actually a really good game. This was one of those games that Sunday I remember watching. Obviously, again, we're like a week late on this, but this is one of those games I remember watching pretty extensively. But the Vikings won their 5th straight up to this point. They rallied past the Cardinals by 1 on Sam Darnold's touchdown pass with 1:13 left. The Minnesota Vikings were searching for an offensive rhythm well past halftime. Aaron Jones had another early turnover. Aaron Jones, I wouldn't say he's been known to fumble the ball, but that's definitely been something that he has done. But they get it done. Shout out to the Vikings. They've been finding ways to win games every fucking week, man. Sam Darnold, 21 for 31, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a really good game this week. I'm about to talk about that here in about 10 minutes. Kyler Murray, 31 for 45 and a touchdown. He obviously threw 2 picks, which is going to kill you when you play a team as good as the Vikings. Aaron Jones, not the greatest games from a whole lot of people. Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for 99 yards, so that's a positive for sure. That's probably going to do it for that game. I wanted to talk about it more, but there you fucking have it. There's only a couple games that weren't good. We're going to skip the Titans, Commanders, and move to Buccaneers and Panthers. Obviously, a really fun story to talk about is just Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. They're a really fun team to watch. McLaughlin's field goal in overtime helps the Bucs beat the Panthers by 3. They move into a first place tie in the NFC South. The NFC South kind of having a mid-off, kind of like a competition between some pretty mid-tier, mediocre teams. But when Baker Mayfield felt Jadeveon Clowney step on the back of his right ankle in the third quarter, he feared he'd torn his Achilles tendon. But, something we've come to know about Baker Mayfield over the last season and a half, couple seasons, he's been having his stints with the Rams and all that stuff. He's a tough guy. Like, if he gets roughed up in a game, he's going to make sure he finishes it. He's going to make sure he does everything in his power to help his team win a game, and that's just something you can't help but respect, obviously. So, just kind of looking at things, Baker Mayfield, he ended up having a pretty decent game. 21 for 33, 235 yards, and a touchdown. He threw for 2 interceptions. But, and obviously you have to feel bad for Bryce Young because this is a pretty good game for him, and he ended up losing, obviously, 26 for 46, 298 yards, and a touchdown. That's a guy that's kind of starting to figure it out with organization, stuff like that. Bucky Irving, he's been great for fantasy owners this season. He had 25 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown. This is an absolute monstrous performance from him. You get an 8-catch, 118-yard, and a touchdown game out of Mike Evans. That was awesome for my fantasy team, even though I'm eliminated in both of my playoffs because I fucking suck. But Adam Thielen had 8 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. He was making some pretty big catches down the stretch there. But there's that game. We're going to talk about the Rams and the Saints now. We only have a couple more games to talk about. Let's talk about Rams-Saints. Matthew Stafford and Kyron Williams helped the Rams grind out a 7-point victory over the Saints. Kyron Williams and the Los Angeles Rams strode to the locker room at halftime, confident that the 0 they had on the scoreboard was no indication of how the final 30 minutes would go, and they came out, they played a really good second half, they grinded it out, played together as a team. It was a beautiful victory to watch, and they get to that 500 hump. You know, they've been teetering. They've obviously been on that threshold of, like, are we a good team? Like, what's our identity? And they're trying, you know. Obviously, Matthew Stafford, 14 for 24, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not much. Kept it pretty simple. Derek Carr threw 24 for 37 and a touchdown. Alvin Kamara had 112 yards rushing. Kyron Williams, great game. 15 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. You get Puka Nacua going 5 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. So, pretty good stuff there. I think this was the game that Taysom Hill literally got his knee fucking destroyed, and unfortunately, he's probably going to be out for the season, which, again, that really sucks to have to say that, but it is what it is. Let's get into the Eagles and the Ravens. This was the game that a lot of people were looking forward to for the week. Yeah, this was definitely the game. Oh, shit, it's kind of cut off a little bit. My bad. Let me try to fix that for you guys. I know I might have done that for the other games. It's my bad. But I'm announcing the games and talking about them, so I guess it's whatever. But let's talk about the Eagles and the Ravens. Philadelphia defense, Justin Tucker's misses. And Justin Tucker's misses helped the Eagles to a 5-point win in their showdown with the Ravens. Again, a very hyped-up game full of offensive juggernauts. You know, this was a really exciting matchup. Did it deliver? I don't know. I mean, obviously, Justin Tucker missing all those kicks really sucks, but Saquon Barkley versus Derrick Henry was never supposed to be a head-to-head matchup. You know, these are guys that we respect greatly in this league for being great running backs, literally the top 2 best running backs in the league, and the fact that each of them are this far in their careers and they're still dominating and being at the top of the pack, I think that's awesome. I think that's saying a lot. I mean, obviously, it's not like, oh, they've been in the league for a decade, but when you're talking about a running back and you get up to year 6, year 7, it's like, holy shit, this guy's still doing this. I mean, it's impressive. Jalen Hurts, 11 for 19, 118 yards and a touchdown. Kind of kept it simple. Obviously, Lamar Jackson played better. I mean, 23 for 36, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, Saquon Barkley had 107 yards rushing and a touchdown. A.J. Brown had 5 catches for 66 yards. Zay Flowers had 3 catches for 74 yards. It just wasn't quite enough, and obviously the blunders and all the missed kicks from Justin Tucker, that's really going to kill your momentum down the line. So that's going to kind of do it for that game. Let's get a move on. Let's keep going. Let's end the video off strong. We're going to have the Browns and the Broncos. McMillian's pick 6 helps the Broncos spoil their career nights, but Jameis Winston and Jerry Jeudy, they beat the Browns by 9. This was a crazy fucking game. We're talking about 73 total points. Like, that's fucking insane. Jameis Winston had a night to remember and kind of one to forget. Obviously, you lost. I mean, you're hyped that you have this statistical performance, but you lost, so it's kind of like, I don't know how to feel about it. You know, obviously the Broncos kind of play like they have a chip on their shoulder. Like, not everyone's really has the most respect for them as a team in the NFL, and you know, they've really proved that they can go out there with the big dogs. You know, one more win, and they guarantee themselves a winning season. So that's really awesome. You know, Von Miller, kind of guys like Nick Bonito following in the footsteps of Von Miller and talking about that with Scott Van Pelt. That was pretty cool. You know, Jameis Winston's up and down play is just crazy. It is just crazy to watch. It's like a fucking national phenomenon. It's a league-wide phenomenon. It's something you don't see out of most players. Like, it's so fucking weird. Like, what other NFL player besides maybe Brett Favre are you seeing having a stat line of 34 for 58, 497 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions? Did they even run the ball this game? Like, holy fucking shit. Jerry Jeudy, 9 catches, 235 yards and a touchdown against his former team. I mean, obviously they lose, but it's still bittersweet for him to go out there and fucking cook their DBs that he used to play in practice. Bo Nix, 18 for 35, 294 yards and a touchdown. He threw 2 picks. I mean, this was just a sloppy game overall. McLaughlin had 14 carries for 84 yards. I mean, even Marvin Mims had a good game. 3 catches, 105 yards and a touchdown. Like, I think in the third quarter or something, there was a stretch where they were just fucking heaving it. Like, they didn't give a fuck. Neither of these teams. They were just bombing it down the field. This looked like a fucking college football game. But anyways, I think that's going to do it, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it has been your boy GCTV. I got to get started on recording my NFL recap. possibly start editing that tonight. I don't know how far I will get into that tomorrow. I promise I'll work on that as well. Obviously, I have things to do, you know, looking for internships, doing stuff like that, you know, changing my classes for my college. I have one more final tomorrow, and then I'm fucking out of here, and I'm super excited about that. Holy shit, guys, you don't know how happy